Lisa Morgan pressed her back against the cold metal wall of the crashed shuttle. The smell of burning circuits filled her nose as she checked her weapon one last time. 3 shots left. Not enough to fight her way out of this mess, but maybe enough to make her capture cost them something. The planet Zarian 7 stretched endlessly around her position with its red sand and twisted black rocks. She had been on a simple reconnaissance mission to gather intelligence about Vorthak military installations. When everything went wrong, her shuttle had been hit by some kind of energy weapon she had never seen before. The crash landing had been rough but survivable. Her pilot, Jake Collins, had not been so lucky. She could hear them moving through the wreckage now. The Vorthak soldiers made clicking sounds as they communicated with each other. Lisa had studied their language during training, but hearing it in person sent chills down her spine. They were known throughout the galaxy as the most brutal interrogators in existence. No species had ever successfully resisted their methods for more than a few days. The clicking sounds grew closer. Lisa gripped her weapon tighter and tried to remember her training. Stay calm, look for opportunities, never give up hope. The instructors had said those words so many times they felt meaningless now. Easy to say when you were safe in a classroom on Earth, much harder when you were about to be captured by creatures that fed on fear and suffering. A shadow fell across the shuttle opening. Lisa held her breath as a tall figure appeared in the doorway. The Vorthak soldier was nearly 7 feet tall with gray skin that looked like it was made of stone. Its eyes were solid black and reflected no light. 4 arms extended from its torso, and each hand ended in razor-sharp claws. The creature wore no armor, but its skin looked thick enough to stop small weapons fire. Lisa raised her weapon and fired. The energy blast hit the creature in the chest, and it stumbled backward. She fired again and again until her weapon showed empty. The Vorthak soldier looked down at the burn marks on its chest and made a sound that might have been laughter. The wounds were already healing. More soldiers poured through the opening. Lisa grabbed a piece of metal debris and swung it at the nearest one. The makeshift weapon shattered against the creature's arm. Strong hands grabbed her from behind and lifted her off the ground. She struggled and kicked, but it was like fighting against a machine. The Vorthak were impossibly strong. One of the soldiers spoke in broken English. "Human female, you come with us now. Commander Zixthal wants to speak with you." Lisa stopped, struggling, and looked at the creature that had spoken. It was smaller than the others and wore what looked like officer markings on its arms. "I am Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan of the Earth Defense Force. I demand to be treated according to the laws of war." The Vorthak officer made that laughing sound again. "Laws of war do not apply to humans. Your species is too primitive to understand such concepts. You will tell us everything we want to know, or you will suffer in ways your small mind cannot imagine." They dragged her out of the shuttle and across the rocky terrain. Lisa tried to memorize the landscape as they moved. The Vorthak base was built into the side of a massive cliff face. The entrance was a square opening about 30 feet wide. Guard towers rose from the rock on both sides of the entrance. She counted at least 12 soldiers visible on the walls. Inside the base, the corridors were carved directly from the stone. Artificial lighting cast strange shadows on the walls. Lisa noticed that the lights seemed to pulse in rhythm with some kind of central power source. Her engineering training kicked in automatically as she observed the electrical systems running along the ceiling. Everything seemed to be connected to a single main power grid. They passed through several security checkpoints. Each one required the guards to place their hands on some kind of scanner. Lisa memorized the locations and tried to understand the security protocols. If she was going to escape, she would need to know how their systems worked. The corridor opened into a vast chamber that took Lisa's breath away. The room was easily 100 feet across, and the ceiling disappeared into darkness above. Thousands of cells lined the walls, stretching up as far as she could see. Many of the cells were occupied. Lisa saw creatures from dozens of different species, all in various states of suffering. Some were crying. Others sat in silent despair. A few rocked back and forth, muttering to themselves. The Vorthak officer noticed her staring. "Welcome to our collection. Each of these prisoners has information we need. They all thought they could resist us when they first arrived. Now they wish only for death. But we do not grant such mercy until we have taken everything from their minds. Lisa forced herself to look away from the cells. She needed to stay focused on her situation. The guards led her to a lift platform that carried them down to the lower levels. The air grew colder as they descended. The walls here were covered in a different kind of stone that seemed to absorb light. Emergency lighting provided just enough illumination to see. They stopped at a heavy door marked with alien symbols. The officer placed its hand on another scanner, and the door slid open with a grinding sound. Beyond was a corridor lined with interrogation rooms. Lisa could hear screaming coming from behind several of the doors. Her stomach tightened, but she kept her expression neutral. The last door at the end of the corridor was larger than the others. The officer stopped in front of it and turned to Lisa. "Commander Zixthal has been waiting for you. He is very interested in human psychology. You will be his newest subject." The door opened to reveal a chamber that was both medical facility and torture room. Strange devices lined the walls. Some looked like surgical instruments, while others appeared to be designed for causing pain. In the center of the room stood a creature that made the other Vorthik look small. Commander Zixthal was nearly 8 feet tall with skin that was darker gray than the others. Its eyes held an intelligence that was somehow more frightening than simple brutality. The commander spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, Lieutenant Commander. Morgan, I have studied your species for many years. Humans are fascinating creatures, so emotional, so fragile. And yet you continue to resist us longer than most species. I am very curious to discover what makes you so different." Lisa met the creature's gaze without flinching. "You'll find out soon enough." Commander Zixthal made that laughing sound. "Indeed I will. We have all the time in the universe." The guards forced Lisa into a metal chair in the center of the chamber. Cold restraints locked around her wrists and ankles with a sharp click. The chair was designed to keep prisoners completely immobilized while allowing full access to their body. Lisa tested the restraints briefly, then stopped. "No point in wasting energy on something that would not break, Commander." Zixthal moved around the chair slowly like a predator studying its prey. His forearms gestured at the various devices on the walls as he spoke. "These instruments have been perfected over thousands of years. Each one is designed to cause maximum pain while keeping the subject alive and conscious. We have broken warriors from species that consider pain to be a form of meditation. We have shattered the minds of creatures that can survive in the vacuum of space. What makes you think humans are any different?" Lisa looked around the chamber with professional interest. The walls were lined with cables that all seemed to connect to a central control panel. The lighting system pulsed with the same rhythm she had noticed in the corridors. Everything was powered by the same grid. FILED that information away for later use. "I never said we were different," Lisa replied calmly. "I just said you would find out what makes us tick." The commander stopped pacing and studied her face. "Most prisoners beg for mercy by this point. They offer us information in exchange for a quick death. You seem remarkably calm for someone about to experience unimaginable suffering." Lisa shrugged. "As much as the restraints would allow. I guess I am just curious to see what you have planned. In my training, we studied interrogation techniques from dozens of species. The Vorthik methods are supposed to be legendary, but I have never seen them in action." Commander Zixthal made a sound that might have been surprise. "You speak of this as if it were an academic exercise. Do you not understand what is about to happen to you?" "I understand perfectly," Lisa said. "You are going to try to break my mind using pain and psychological pressure. You want me to give you information about Earth's military capabilities. The question is whether your techniques are as effective as your reputation suggests." The commander moved to the control panel and began adjusting settings. "We shall see how academic you feel when the pain begins." A device descended from the ceiling and positioned itself above Lisa's head. It looked like a metal crown with dozens of thin wires extending from it. The wires ended in needle-sharp points that would penetrate the skull. Lisa recognized it as a neural interface designed to stimulate pain receptors directly in the brain. This device allows us to cause pain without damaging the body, the commander explained. We can make you feel like you are being burned alive while leaving no physical marks. The intensity can be adjusted from mild discomfort to levels that would normally cause immediate death from shock. Lisa watched the device lower toward her head. Interesting design. The neural pathways must be incredibly complex to achieve that level of precision. How do you account for differences in brain structure between species? Commander Zixthel paused in his preparations. You're asking technical questions about the device that will torture you? Professional curiosity, Lisa said. I have a background in bioengineering. The neural mapping required for this kind of interface would be extremely sophisticated. Did you develop this technology yourself or acquire it from another species? The commander stared at her for a long moment. We developed it through experimentation on thousands of subjects over centuries. Each species taught us something new. About pain and suffering. Fascinating. The learning curve must have been enormous. How many test subjects did you lose to system overload before you perfected the calibration? The commander's expression changed to something that might have been confusion. Why do you care about such details? Lisa smiled. Like I said, professional curiosity. If you are going to use that thing on me, I would like to understand how it works. The engineering principles are probably quite elegant. Commander Zixthel activated the device without another word. The metal crown touched Lisa's head and the needles penetrated her skull. Pain exploded through her nervous system like liquid fire. Every nerve ending in her body screamed at once. Her vision went white and her muscles locked in spasm. The pain lasted for exactly 10 seconds, then stopped. Lisa slumped in the chair, breathing heavily but still conscious. Her body shook from the aftershocks, but her mind remained clear. That was the lowest setting, the commander said. Most subjects lose consciousness immediately. How do you feel? Lisa took a deep breath and raised her head to look at him. Like I just got struck by lightning. The neural firing pattern was incredibly intense. The pain signals were so strong they overwhelmed my normal sensory input. Very impressive technology. The commander stared at her in disbelief. You are analyzing the experience? Of course. That is how humans learn. We observe, analyze, and adapt. The pain was severe but not unbearable. I assume you will increase the intensity gradually to map my psychological breaking point? Commander Zixthel moved closer to the chair. You should be screaming. You should be begging me to stop. The pain you just experienced would drive most creatures insane, Lisa nodded thoughtfully. I can see why. The simultaneous activation of all pain receptors would create a feedback loop in most nervous systems. But human brains are very good at compartmentalizing traumatic experiences. We have natural defense mechanisms that kick in during extreme stress. Defense mechanisms? The commander asked. Endorphin release, dissociation, selective attention. Our brains literally change their chemistry to help us survive trauma. It is an evolutionary adaptation that helped our species survive when we were prey animals millions of years ago. The commander activated the device again at a higher setting. This time the pain was twice as intense. Lisa's body convulsed against the restraints and she bit down hard on her tongue to keep from screaming. Blood filled her mouth, but she swallowed it and kept her eyes open. When the pain stopped, she was gasping for air but still conscious. Definitely more intense that time. I would estimate about double the neural stimulation. The pattern was different. 2. More focused on the limbic system. You are trying to trigger an emotional response along with the physical pain. Commander Zixthel made a sound of frustration. This is impossible. No creature should be able to maintain rational thought under these conditions. Lisa managed a weak smile. You said it yourself, humans are fascinating creatures. We have been dealing with pain and suffering for our entire evolutionary history. We developed culture, art, and philosophy specifically to help us cope with trauma. Pain is not our enemy, it is our teacher. The commander raised the intensity again. This time, Lisa could not stop herself from screaming. But when the pain ended, she was still looking at him with clear eyes. "Getting warmer," she said through gritted teeth. "But you are going to need to try harder than that." Commander Zixtel stepped back from the control panel and studied Lisa with growing confusion. 3 hours had passed since the interrogation began. He had used pain levels that should have broken her mind completely. Instead, she continued to analyze each session like a scientist studying an interesting phenomenon. "Tell me about your species," Lisa said during a brief pause between torture sessions. "How do the Vorthak handle pain? Do you have the same neural pathways as humans, or is your nervous system structured differently?" The commander's forearms moved in what might have been agitation. "We do not discuss Vorthak physiology with prisoners." "That is too bad. I was hoping we could compare notes." "Pain tolerance varies widely between species. Some creatures can barely handle minor discomfort, while others can survive injuries that would kill most beings. Where do humans fall on that spectrum in your experience?" "Humans are weak," the commander said, but his voice lacked conviction. "All organic species break eventually." Lisa tilted her head thoughtfully. "That is interesting. You said all organic species, but you specified organic. What about artificial beings? Have you ever tried to interrogate a machine intelligence?" Commander Zixtel moved to a different control panel without answering. A new device emerged from the wall. This one looked like a helmet covered in sensors and transmitters. Lisa recognized. "It is some kind of psychological warfare system designed to attack the mind directly. This device projects fear directly into your brain," the commander explained. "It will show you your worst nightmares and force you to experience them as if they were real. Most subjects lose their sanity within minutes." Lisa watched the device position itself over her head. "How do you determine what someone's worst fears are? Do you scan their memories first, or do you use some kind of universal fear responses?" "We scan your mind and find the memories that cause you the most distress. Then we amplify those memories and force you to relive them over and over until your mind breaks." "That sounds like a form of exposure therapy," Lisa said. "Psychologists on Earth use similar techniques to help people overcome phobias. The main difference is that we do it gradually and with the patient's consent." The commander activated the device before Lisa could say anything else. The helmet descended and covered her head completely. Darkness surrounded her, and then the visions began. She saw herself as a child watching HER parents die in a transport accident. She felt the same helplessness and terror she had experienced 20 years ago. But instead of breaking down, Lisa began to analyze the memory. She noticed details that had been hidden by trauma. She saw how the accident had taught her to value life and pushed her to become stronger. The device shifted to another memory. Lisa found herself reliving her first combat mission where she had been forced to kill an enemy soldier. She remembered the guilt and the nightmares that followed. But now she could see how that experience had taught her about the cost of war and the responsibility that came with taking a life. Each memory that the device showed her was painful, but Lisa began to understand something important. Her worst experiences had shaped her into who she was today. They had given her strength and wisdom that she would not have gained any other way. After an hour, the device shut down and the helmet lifted away. Commander Zixtel stared at her with something approaching shock. "You were supposed to be screaming. The psychological trauma should have driven you insane." Lisa blinked as her eyes adjusted to the light. "It was difficult to experience those memories again, but I realized something interesting. My worst experiences are also my most valuable ones. They taught me lessons that I could not have learned any other way. This is impossible," the commander said. "Fear is universal. All creatures flee from pain and suffering." "Not all creatures," Lisa replied. "Humans have learned to find meaning in suffering. We tell stories about heroes who overcome impossible odds. We celebrate people who face their fears and emerge stronger. Pain is not something we run from. It is something we learn from." Commander Zixtel moved to another control panel. "We have other methods?" Physical torture combined with psychological pressure, we will break you eventually. Lisa looked around the chamber again. She had been observing the power systems during the entire session. The neural interface and psychological warfare devices drew enormous amounts of energy. She could see that the electrical grid was already showing signs of strain. Small fluctuations in the lighting indicated that the system was operating near its maximum capacity. I have a question for you, Lisa said. What happens to the Vorthak when they feel fear? Do you experience it the same way humans do? The commander paused in his preparations. We do not feel fear. We are predators. We cause fear in others. Everyone feels fear sometimes. It is a survival mechanism. What scares you? What would happen if you found yourself in a situation where you were the prey instead of the predator? That is impossible. We are the dominant species in this sector of space. No one can threaten us. Lisa smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. You know what I think? I think you are afraid right now. You are afraid because your methods are not working on me. You are afraid because you are starting to realize that humans might be different from the other species you have broken. The commander's hands moved more quickly over the controls. You are trying to manipulate me. It will not work. I am not trying to manipulate you. I am trying to understand you. Fear is not a weakness, it is information. It tells us when we are in danger and helps us survive. But the Vorthak have built their entire culture around causing fear in others. What happens when you meet someone who is not afraid of you? Commander Zixtel activated multiple devices at once. Pain flooded through Lisa's body while images of her worst memories played in her mind. Sounds designed to cause psychological distress filled the chamber. It was an assault on every sense simultaneously, but instead of breaking down, Lisa began to laugh. It started as a quiet chuckle, but grew stronger as the torture continued. The sound echoed off the metal walls and seemed to fill the entire chamber. Her laughter was not the sound of someone driven mad by pain. It was the sound of someone who had found genuine amusement in an unexpected place. Why are you laughing? The commander demanded over the noise of the machines. Because I just realized something, Lisa said between fits of laughter. You are more afraid of me than I am of you. You can hurt my body, but you cannot touch my spirit. That terrifies you because you do not understand how it is possible. The commander increased the intensity of all the devices, but Lisa's laughter only grew louder. It was becoming clear that human resilience was something the Vorthak had never encountered before. Lisa's laughter filled the chamber with a sound that Commander Zixtel had never heard before. It was not the broken cackle of a mind destroyed by torture. It was not the desperate hysteria of someone trying to escape reality. This was the genuine amusement of a person who had discovered something funny in the darkest possible situation. Stop laughing, the commander ordered as he increased the power to all the torture devices. You should be screaming in agony. Lisa's laughter grew stronger instead of weaker. You want to know what is so funny? I just realized that everything you are doing to me is something humans do to ourselves voluntarily. We have athletes who push their bodies beyond the point of collapse because they enjoy the challenge. We have people who climb mountains in freezing weather just for the experience. We have entire religions based on finding spiritual growth through suffering. The commander's 4 arms moved frantically over the controls. This is impossible. No species enjoys pain. We don't enjoy pain exactly, Lisa said between laughs. We enjoy overcoming it. We enjoy proving to ourselves that we are stronger than we thought. Every human culture has stories about people who became heroes by enduring terrible ordeals. We celebrate suffering when it makes us better people. Commander Zixtel stepped back from the control panel. His dark eyes showed something that might have been panic. You are insane? The torture has broken your mind. Lisa shook her head while still laughing. My mind is perfectly clear. Clearer than it has been in years, actually. You see, I spent my whole life preparing for this moment without even knowing it. Every difficult experience I ever had was training for right now. Every time I got hurt and got back up made me stronger. Every time I faced my fears made me braver. Vorthak have broken billions of minds over thousands of years, the commander said. We have perfected the art of causing suffering. But you never learn the art of overcoming it, Lisa replied. That is what makes humans different. We don't just endure suffering. We transform it into something useful. We turn pain into wisdom. We turn fear into courage. We turn weakness into strength. The commander moved to a different section of the chamber where more advanced devices waited. We have methods that you have not experienced yet. Neural scramblers that will erase your memories. Psychological viruses that will rewrite your personality. Chemical agents that will destroy your will to live. Lisa watched him prepare the new equipment. You know what I think? I think you are running out of ideas. You have thrown everything you have at me and I am still here, still laughing, still human. You will not be laughing much longer, the commander said as he activated a device that looked like a spinning sphere covered in metal spikes. This machine will scramble your neural pathways until you forget who you are. The sphere descended toward Lisa's head, but she continued laughing. Do you want to know a secret about humans? We are very good at rebuilding ourselves. Even if you erase my memories, I will still be me. My personality is not just stored in my brain. It is written into every cell of my body. It is part of my genetic code. It is something you cannot destroy with your machines. The neural scrambler activated and Lisa felt her thoughts becoming confused. Names and faces from her past became jumbled. Memories mixed together in ways that made no sense. But underneath the confusion, something remained unchanged. Her core sense of self stayed intact like a flame that could not be extinguished. When the device shut down, Lisa's laughter returned stronger than before. Still here, she said cheerfully. Still human. Still not broken. Commander Zixtel made a sound of pure frustration. This is impossible. The neural scrambler should have erased your identity completely. My identity is not just my memories. Lisa explained. It is my values, my beliefs, my determination to never give up. Those things are deeper than memory. They are part of who I am at the most fundamental level. The commander activated more devices. Chemical injectors filled Lisa's bloodstream with compounds designed to destroy her will to live. Psychological manipulators bombarded her mind with messages of hopelessness and despair. Energy weapons caused pain so intense that most creatures would die from shock, but Lisa's laughter continued through it all. It echoed off the metal walls and seemed to grow stronger with each new torture. You know what this reminds me of? Boot camp. The instructors tried to break us down so they could build us back up stronger. The difference is that you don't know how to do the second part. You only know how to tear things down. What are you talking about? The commander demanded. Humans have been perfecting the art of controlled suffering for thousands of years, Lisa said. We call it training. We put ourselves through difficult experiences on purpose because we know it will make us better. Athletes train until their muscles scream. Students study until their brains hurt. Soldiers practice until they can function. Under the worst possible conditions. Commander Zixtel stared at her with growing horror. You're saying that humans torture themselves? Not torture. Challenge. There is a difference. Torture is meaningless suffering designed to break someone. Challenge is meaningful suffering designed to build someone. Everything you are doing to me right now is just another form of training. The commander's movements became more frantic as he tried device after device. Nothing worked. Lisa's laughter grew louder and more joyful with each failed attempt. You are enjoying this, he said in disbelief. I am enjoying the discovery, Lisa replied. I'm learning things about myself that I never knew. I'm finding out just how strong humans can be when we really try. This is the ultimate test, and I am passing it with flying colors. The commander stepped back from the controls. What are you? I am human, Lisa said simply. I am a member of a species that has survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. We have endured plagues and wars and natural disasters. We have faced extinction dozens of times and always found a way to survive. We don't just endure suffering. We learn from it. We grow from it. We become more human because of it. Commander Zixthel looked around the chamber at all his useless devices. This changes everything. If humans cannot be broken, then they cannot be controlled. Lisa's laughter reached a crescendo that seemed to shake the entire facility. Now you are starting to understand. The question is, what are you going to do about it? The commander's hand moved toward an emergency control panel. His expression showed a creature who had discovered that his greatest weapon was completely useless against an enemy he had never encountered before. Lisa's laughter reached a pitch that seemed to resonate through the very walls of the facility. Commander Zixthel stood frozen at the emergency control panel with his 4 hands shaking. Every torture device in the chamber was running at maximum power, yet the human was not only still conscious, but seemed to be enjoying herself. You want to know the really funny part? Lisa said through her laughter. I just figured out how your whole facility works. You have been so focused on breaking me that you didn't notice I was studying your systems the entire time? The commander spun around to stare at her. What are you talking about? The power grid, Lisa explained while continuing to laugh. Everything in this place runs off a single central system. All your torture devices draw massive amounts of energy. The neural interfaces, the psychological manipulators, the pain amplifiers, they are all connected to the same power source. And right now you have all of them running at maximum capacity. Commander Zixthel looked around the chamber with growing alarm. The lights were flickering more rapidly now. The air circulation system was making strange sounds. Warning indicators were beginning to flash on several control panels. You are overloading the system, Lisa continued. In your desperation to break me, you have pushed your equipment beyond its safety limits. The power consumption is exceeding what your generators can provide. Basic engineering, really. Supply and demand. The commander rushed to the main control panel and began shutting down devices. This is impossible. Our systems are designed to handle any load. Lisa's laughter grew even louder. Maybe they were designed for normal interrogations, but this is not normal, is it? You have never had a subject who could resist every method you tried. You have never pushed all your equipment to maximum power for hours at a time. You have never dealt with someone who turned your torture session into a learning experience. Alarms began sounding throughout the facility. Emergency lights started flashing as the main power grid struggled to meet the massive energy demands. Commander Zixthel worked frantically to balance the load, but it was too late. The damage was already done. Here is what is going to happen, Lisa said as her restraints began to spark from electrical feedback. Your power grid is going into cascade failure. When it goes down, your security systems will fail. Your cell doors will unlock. Your communication systems will go offline. And hundreds of angry prisoners will be set free all at once. The backup systems will engage, the commander said desperately. Lisa shook her head while laughing. I observe. Your backup systems when you brought me in. They are designed to power essential life support and emergency lighting only. They cannot handle the full facility load. Your backup generators will be overwhelmed in minutes. The lights flickered again, and several control panels went dark. The neural interface above Lisa's head shut down automatically as its power supply became unstable. The psychological warfare device retracted into the wall as its systems failed one by one. You did this on purpose, Commander Zixthel accused. You wanted us to overload the system. I wanted to see how far you would go, Lisa replied. I wanted to test the limits of both your technology and your psychology, and I learned exactly what I needed to know. The Vorthak are so dependent on their fear-based methods that you cannot function when they fail. You have no backup plan for a species that cannot be broken. The restraints holding Lisa to the chair suddenly released as their electronic locks lost power. She stood up slowly and stretched muscles that had been locked in position for hours. Her body ached from the torture, but her mind was clear and focused. Commander Zixthel reached for a weapon on his belt, but found that it too had lost power. The energy cells that powered Vorthak technology were all connected to the same failing grid. Stay back, he warned. Lisa walked calmly toward the chamber door. I am not going to hurt you. Violence is not necessary when you have already won. Your facility is about to become a prison for you instead of your captives. The door to the chamber opened automatically as the electronic locks failed. Beyond the doorway, Lisa could hear sounds of chaos echoing through the corridors. Cell doors were opening throughout the facility. Prisoners who had been held for months or years were finally free. Their cries of joy and rage mixed together in a symphony of liberation. This facility held representatives from dozens of species, Lisa said as she paused in the doorway. All of them have been waiting for a chance at revenge. When they find out that a single human caused the system failure, they are going to be very interested in learning more about our species. Commander Zixthel backed against the wall as the reality of his situation became clear. The Vorthek Empire will send ships to recapture this facility. Eventually, Lisa agreed. But it will take time for them to realize what happened here. Time for word to spread about what humans are capable of. Time for other species to understand that the Vorthok can be defeated. Emergency lighting kicked in as the main power grid finally collapsed completely. The facility was plunged into a dim red glow that cast strange shadows on the walls. In the distance, Lisa could hear the sound of running feet as prisoners moved through the corridors seeking their captors. "You started a war today," the commander said. Lisa's laughter finally began to quiet as she looked back at him. "No, I finished one. The Vorthok Empire is built on the belief that all species can be broken through suffering. Today you learned that belief is wrong. When word of this spreads, every species in the galaxy will know that the Vorthok are not invincible." She walked out of the chamber and into the dark corridor beyond. Her laughter echoed behind her as she made her way toward the surface. She had memorized the route during her capture, and now that same knowledge would guide her to freedom. Behind her, Commander Zixthel sat alone in his powerless torture chamber, surrounded by useless machines. For the first time in his life, he understood what it felt like to be afraid. The sound of Lisa's laughter continued to ring in his ears long after she had disappeared into the darkness. The liberation of the Vorthek detention facility would become legend throughout the galaxy. The story of the human who laughed in the face of torture and brought down an entire empire through the power of her unbreakable spirit would inspire resistance movements on 1,000 worlds. Lisa Morgan had proven that some things could never be conquered, no matter how much suffering was inflicted. The human spirit was one of those things, and her laughter would echo through the stars for generations to come.